Welcome to the Near Memo, a weekly conversation about search, social, and commerce. What happened, why it matters, and the implications for local. All right, so on the theme of sort of fraud and trust, one of the things that was really interesting about Google Marketing Live, which was their ads-focused event that's kind of a companion to their I/O developer conference. So I/O was last week or whenever, 2 weeks ago maybe. Who knows? The days are all bleeding together. This week, Google Marketing Live, and there were a ton of ad-related announcements, which I couldn't capture in the newsletter, but tried. They talked about commerce. They talked about a lot of new tools. There's a ton of stuff. I mean, I posted the condensed version of their keynote, which is worth watching in the newsletter. But one of the things that was really striking to me is how privacy showed up in every one of these discussions, with the exception, I think, of Bill Reddy's shopping discussion, potentially. But it was emphasized again and again and again. And Jerry Dishler, who's their VP of ads, basically said that this implied contract of trading personal data for content, for free content, is now over. People are no longer want that bargain. And it's incumbent on everybody to recognize that and to change. And that was, it's sort of like Google gets religion, but at the same time, not 100%, because they're still doing things in the background that are not consistent with that rhetoric. And, Dishler's solution was basically first-party data, develop your first-party data, machine learning and automation, AI, to do predictive marketing stuff, and then Flock, right? Google's browser-based cohort group sort of targeting methodology that a lot of people are objecting to, and the byproduct of this is Google and Facebook and Amazon and some of the big players are going to be fine because they've got such end-to-end data and ecosystems, but the smaller publishers and everybody else is not going to be fine, which is partly why we're seeing the rise of subscriptions. And so this is kind of the paradox, which is that as the internet gets more privacy friendly, it reinforces the power of these big companies. And I'm going to segue into small business commerce, unless you guys want to say anything there. No, I feel like I'm giving it soliloquy.
The one observation I have is that Flock, though, appears to be dead on arrival to me.
Yeah, that's right. WordPress and Joomla, right? And maybe
a whole bunch of Drupal also,
which is 75% of the internet, probably right there between those three. So
default not accepted. So I don't.
Well, Google is not acknowledging that at this point, at least.
Right.
But so just real quickly on the shopping stuff, also coming out of Google Marketing Live, Google's shopping strategy continues to evolve. Google's trying to get more and more product inventory, more and more product data out there. They've opened up free distribution as part of a strategy to do that. And two of the things that were really striking to me about Bill Reddy's remarks and some of the announcements was their focus on real-time inventory and small businesses. And to that end, they've done partnerships with WooCommerce, Shopify last week, GoDaddy, and Square now, who are all going to be sort of on gateways for their small business customers to just syndicate products on Google. And
Wix, I heard today.
Yeah, Wix, all of these guys, right? And so it struck me that years ago when we all first got into this, it's services versus products, but it's still sort of true. The newspapers and traditional media companies and the Yellow Pages, these were all the big aggregators of small businesses that Google was relying upon as a kind of outsourced sales force or an outsourced kind of marketing channel to reach small businesses. And now they've really shifted to these SaaS companies, And again, it's partly about product versus services, but not entirely. These are the new aggregators for them.
I heard today that Wix has been authorized for Google's whitelisted GMB listing creation as well. So they're getting even closer with some of these platforms.
I would argue that Wix, of all of the website builders, so to speak, I know that's a gross oversimplification of their platform, but they probably have the best reach into the GMB entities that Google has the hardest time reaching in terms of very small businesses, potentially very new businesses. So that seems like a really good partnership from GMB's standpoint.
Right, one touch to create a website and get your GMB listing and to get your inventory into Merchant Center. That's compelling.
Right, and this emphasis on inventory, I think, is one of Google's big pushes. Sort of the omni-channel plus real-time inventory is a big push for them in differentiating against Amazon. And I think
Yes.
I think it does work. I think they don't have the user experience to really take on Amazon, but they certainly are getting the data there.
Their new product, though, that in restaurants that does the order entry has a great user interface. So clearly they know how to do it. You start ordering a product and it makes suggestions on which other foods to order with it, and then it takes you through a very painless checkout and payment process. They've inserted themselves so elegantly into this that it's quite amazing. So they do know how to do it, and we are seeing that start.
Well, that's a metaphor for their entire strategy, right? I mean,
Yes.
they're trying to simplify distribution and reach, and there's everything is kind of a mirror of everything else. There's a way in which they're at the highest level. There's a consistency to what they're doing.
I would simplify it one step further. They want to become a rentier of all transactions in the local world.
Yes. Agree.
Thanks for joining David, Mike, and Greg. To stay on top of the latest developments in local, subscribe to our newsletter at nearmedia.co. We'll see you next week.